Hola amigos, let's talk Spanish pronunciation. Learning Spanish? That's super cool. Pronunciation can be intimidating. Rolling R's, accent marks, it's a whole thing. But don't stress. Seriously. Today, I'm hooking you up with tips to nail your Spanish pronunciation. These tips are going to be your new best friends. Let's dive into the world of Spanish pronunciation. Okay, first things first. If you want to sound amazing in Spanish, start by listening to native speakers. It's not just about understanding words, but the rhythm, intonation, and vibe. Put on some Spanish music, watch a movie with subtitles, or listen to a podcast while you're doing your thing. Immerse yourself in the sounds of Spanish, and it'll feel natural when you speak. Okay, but here's the thing. Textbook Spanish and real life Spanish, they can be like two different languages sometimes. I'm talking about the way people actually talk in everyday conversations. It's like, you know how sometimes people say things differently than how they're written? Like, instead of saying going to, they say gonna? Yeah. Spanish has those little shortcuts and slang words too, and they're everything. So to really level up your listening skills, try to find content that features real conversations. You know, like YouTubers, interviews, or even just eavesdropping on a conversation. In a non-creepy way, obviously. The more you listen to authentic Spanish, the more you'll pick up on those subtle nuances that make your pronunciation sound supernatural and like way less textbooky. Trust me, your Spanish speaking friends will be seriously impressed. Alright, so we've talked about listening, but now it's time to actually open our mouths and make some sounds. Repetition is key. The more you practice, the better you'll get. Think of it like learning a dance routine or nailing that perfect winged eyeliner. Pronunciation is the same thing. The more you repeat sounds and words, the more natural they'll become. So what are some ways you can practice? Use a voice recording app or find a language partner. Record yourself. Then listen back and compare to a native speaker. It might feel weird at first, but it's a game changer, trust me. Okay, so you're probably thinking, Emma, this sounds kinda boring. And like, I get it. Repetition can feel a little repetitive, duh. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be a drag. Instead of just mindlessly repeating the same words over and over, try incorporating them into sentences. Like, instead of just saying perro, dog, a million times, try saying things like, I have a cute dog, or the dog is barking. You can even make it a game. Challenge yourself to use a new word or phrase in a conversation that day, or see how many times you can work it into a conversation with your language partner. The possibilities are literally endless. The point is, repetition doesn't have to be boring. Get creative, have fun with it, and watch your pronunciation skills skyrocket. Okay guys, let's talk about accents. No, not the kind you have from a different country, although those are cool too. I'm talking about those little marks you see above some Spanish vowels. They're like tiny ninjas that can completely change the meaning of a word. Seriously, like papa versus papa. One means potato, the other means dad. Imagine calling your dad a potato by accident. Not a good look. So, yeah, accents are key. Pay attention to them. They tell you where to put the emphasis on a word, which changes the pronunciation and the whole vibe. Speaking of emphasis, let's talk about stress. In Spanish, each word has a syllable that you kind of hit harder than the others. It's like the beat of the word. And just like in music, if you mess up the beat, the whole thing sounds off. So when you're learning new words, don't just focus on the individual sounds, but also on where the stress falls. Is it on the first syllable? The last? It makes a difference, trust me. Once you get the hang of it, you'll sound so much more natural. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, Emma, this is a lot to remember. And you're not wrong. But don't worry. There's this super helpful tool called the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. Think of it like the secret code to unlocking any language's sounds. It's a system where each symbol represents a specific sound. So no more guessing how to pronounce things. It can be a little intimidating at first, kinda like looking at a foreign language. Oh wait, but trust me, once you get the hang of it, it's a game changer. Especially for those sounds that seem impossible, like the dreaded rolled R or the N that sounds like NY. The IPA breaks it down for you, showing you exactly how to position your tongue and shape your mouth. It's like having a personal pronunciation coach in your pocket. Plus, there are tons of resources online and in apps that use the IPA. So if you're serious about perfecting your Spanish pronunciation, get familiar with the IPA. It's your secret weapon. Okay guys, time for some fun. We're talking tongue twisters, but the Spanish kind. Yeah, they exist, and they are just as much of a mouthful as the English ones. But trust me, these aren't just for kids or showing off at parties. They're like a boot camp for your pronunciation. They force you to pay attention to each sound and really work those mouth muscles. It's like going to the gym for your tongue, but instead of getting sweaty, you get to sound amazing in Spanish. And the best part? They're actually really fun. Find some online or in a Spanish textbook and challenge yourself to say them faster and faster. You can even record yourself and listen back to see how much you've improved. Plus, it's a great party trick. Impress your friends with your newfound Spanish skills. So don't be shy, embrace the tongue twister challenge. Your pronunciation will thank you for it. Want to sound like a true Spaniard? Blend in on the streets of Madrid or Barcelona. Imitation is your secret weapon. How did you learn your first language? By mimicking people around you. Find a Spanish-speaking spirit guide, maybe Penelope Cruz, or a Spanish YouTuber. Listen to them on repeat. Pay attention to vowels, emphasis, and pauses. It's all part of the magic. Now comes the fun part, the part where you basically become a parrot. I'm talking about straight up mimicking what you hear. Trust me, it's all part of the process. Choose a phrase and repeat it, like a million times. Try to match their intonation and rhythm. Record yourself, then play it back and compare. Practice makes perfect. The more you imitate, the more natural your Spanish will become. Let's talk about sounds that make Spanish, well, Spanish. Those sounds might seem intimidating, but once you get them, it's like unlocking a new level. First up, the legendary rolled R. Feels like starting a lawnmower, right? It's normal to feel like your tongue is working out. Practice, practice, practice. Maybe some tongue stretches too. Try words with R's in different positions. You will go from sputtering to smooth. The struggle is real, but worth it. Next up on our hit list of Spanish sounds is the N, which is like the cooler, more sophisticated cousin of the regular N. It's like, oh, you think you know N? Well, let me introduce you to my friend, N, who brings a whole new level of nasal awesomeness to the table. The best way to conquer these sounds is to just dive in and start practicing. Don't be afraid to sound a little silly at first. Remember, practice makes progress, not perfection. Okay, so you're probably super eager to start speaking Spanish like a pro, right? And while I admire your enthusiasm, trust me when I say, slow and steady wins the race. Think of it like this. Would you rather speed through a marathon and risk tripping and face planting, or pace yourself and actually enjoy the journey. Yeah, exactly. When you first start speaking Spanish, it's totally fine to take things slow. Focus on pronouncing each word clearly and accurately, even if it feels a little clunky at first. It's kind of like learning a new dance move. You wouldn't expect to nail it perfectly at the speed of light, right? You'd start slow, break down the steps, and gradually build up your speed and fluidity. The same goes for speaking Spanish. As you become more comfortable with the pronunciation of individual words, you can start to increase your pace gradually. But don't sacrifice clarity for speed. It's better to speak a little slower and be understood than to rush through and end up sounding like a garbled mess. And hey, speaking slowly has its perks. It gives you more time to think about what you want to say and how you want to say it. Plus, it can actually make you sound more confident and in control. Like, you really know what you're talking about. So my advice, don't be afraid to channel your inner sloth when you're first starting out. Embrace the slow and steady approach, and I promise you'll be amazed at how quickly you progress. And there you have it, my friends. 7 essential tips to help you perfect your Spanish pronunciation and speak with clarity and confidence. Remember, active listening, repetition, focusing on stress and accents, using the IPA, trying tongue twisters, imitating native speakers, and practicing those tricky Spanish-specific sounds are your secret weapons. Consistency is key, so keep practicing these tips, and I promise you, your Spanish pronunciation will reach new heights. It's like, if you're not constantly evolving and improving, are you even living? Okay, maybe that's a little dramatic, but you get the point. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more awesome language learning content. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.